Hey guys, my name is Luke, and in this video we're going to be talking about the best TV shows for learning English. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do that. Also, check out my courses in the links in the description. Alright, let's begin. One of the most common questions I get is, what TV shows or TV series should I be watching if I want to improve my English? Now, it's kind of a difficult question because we all like different things. Maybe what I like is not the same as what you like, right? But still, some shows are better than others. Some may be way too hard and not clear, not easy to understand, not good for English learners, and some might be perfect, and in fact, some are. So, what I'm going to do in this video is recommend 5 TV shows for improving your English. 5 shows that you can watch to improve your English. I think these shows are a good fit for English learners in general. Why? Well, I have 3 different criteria for recommending a show to English learners. Number 1, the speaking in the show is generally easy to understand. Generally easy to understand, meaning that if you watch it, you should be able to get at least 60% of the meaning. And there aren't lots of specialized words. For example, I probably wouldn't recommend House, that medical show, right? It's a good show, but it has all kinds of crazy medical words. Maybe it's not a good choice. I wouldn't recommend it. Number 2, there are many things to learn in the show. Some shows are so simple and maybe so dumb or so basic that there's hardly anything that you can get from it. Hardly any new phrases, hardly any new words. So all of the shows I'm going to recommend have lots of expressions, lots of phrases, lots of new words that you can soak in as you watch. Number 3, all the shows that I'm going to recommend are shows that I personally like very much. I don't believe in recommending shows that I haven't seen or shows that I don't like. For example, someone might say, how about Big Bang Theory? Do you like Big Bang Theory? Should I watch Big Bang Theory? Well, go ahead if you want to. I hate Big Bang Theory. I don't recommend it because I don't like it. I don't think it's funny at all, right? But if you like it, if that's your sense of humor, go ahead. It's not bad for learning English. I don't like it. So I'm not going to put that one in my list. So, pretty easy to understand, lots to learn, and I like them. Those are my basic criteria. And also, just to be clear, there are some shows that I really love which I'm not going to recommend. For example, one of my favorite TV shows is Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Let's make sure that history never forgets the name. Enterprise. Got out.
I love that show. But there are all kinds of scientific words about spaceships and different kinds of crazy sci-fi technology. And I just think that there's so much of that, it could get in the way of actually learning. There are also shows which are very strange that I'm not putting on the list. I love very strange shows. They're my favorite, but I'm not going to put them on the list. For example, Tim and Eric, awesome show, great job.
When I was a child, there was thought to be 9 planets, but there are now 90 planets.
The humor is so weird and strange that I think for people who don't like that kind of humor, which is a lot of people, not including me, it could be distracting. And as I mentioned, I'm not going to put shows that I don't like on the list, even though they might be great for learning English, like Big Bang Theory. Let's get started with the list. Sorry, hold on. Hello? Who's this? Oh, yeah, and it said your number was unlisted. Why are you calling from this? Are you calling from a payphone? That's pretty weird. Okay. No, I'm doing it right now. Yeah, I'm doing it right now. It's filming right now. Yeah. No. No. I'm not going to put it on the list. I know. Yeah, I know it's a good show, but I feel like if you put Friends on the list, it's just so obvious. Everybody knows. Everybody knows that it's a good show to learn from. Everybody knows it's funny. Everybody knows it's a classic. I just feel like it's too obvious. Yeah. Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So I think a fake phone call with someone from a fake payphone who doesn't exist, I think that's the perfect way to sort of put it on the list without putting it on the list. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, I'm glad we agree. It's wonderful. Okay. Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Are you still coming? Good. Yeah. Okay. How many are you bringing? Can you bring 300? Yeah, I have the bags. Yes. Yeah, the yellow ones. All right. Yep. Bye. Sorry about that. Sorry for the interruption. Number 5, Portlandia.
Wow. An artist that we work with makes these by jamming them into his pocket. What do you think of that? And then he pulls it out. You know how they never come out. This is how they come out. You know, you could pair this with a rosé.
This kind of show is what's called a sketch show. There are a lot of common characters, but usually not a clear storyline. It jumps around almost randomly, and really, they're supposed to just be funny. So it's a really interesting comedy, and I think it really communicates, one, a lot of different kinds of situations, because the sketches are all different, and two, it's a really funny show. So you can get a feeling for types of American humor and how different expressions can be used to get across funny ideas. Number 4, Planet Earth.
The owner's flag is a warning.
It could be Planet Earth or any of those other nature documentary series, as long as the narrator's pronunciation is clear. David Attenborough does a lot of them. His pronunciation is so clear. So I would recommend, like Planet Earth, choose a David Attenborough documentary. Because when you can understand most of what's being said, you're able to pick up the little gaps between those things that you understand. So that allows you to learn faster. That's why these sorts of documentaries with very clear pronunciation are a great way to improve, for example, your listening, especially your listening. Number 3, Stranger Things.
She broke my arm!
This series is awesome. It has great music, it has a great story, the characters are really interesting, there's humor, it's a little bit scary sometimes. I think it's just a very well-balanced series. And the characters use language that's pretty simple, so it should be relatively easy to understand what most people are saying when you're watching it. Also, and I think this is a really interesting point, it takes place in the 1980s. And because of that, you're not only picking up new words and phrases, you're also getting a little bit more of a cultural background, which is really kind of my cultural background. So I kind of want to share that with you. And that is one of the main reasons that I recommend this series. Number 2, cartoons. Actually, I'm going to cheat a little bit and share 3 cartoons within number 2. I know that's not fair, but some people really like animation, and there are 3 really good shows that I would recommend because they're, I think, easy to understand, pretty easy to understand, really interesting, some funny, some just really interesting. Number 1 is, and this is my number 1 recommendation, if you like animation, American cartoons, for example, is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
These people are born bad. No, that's wrong. I don't think that was the point of what Roku showed me at all.
Then what was the point?
Roku was just as much Fire Nation as Sozin was, right?
The other 2 are funny, and they're both science fiction. One is called Futurama. It's about a guy who travels to the future and becomes a delivery boy in a spaceship. It's a very funny show. And the other one is called Rick and Morty. I have to say, Rick and Morty is perhaps one of my favorite shows of all time.
You're not gonna regret it. The payoff is huge. I turned myself into a pickle, Morty! Boom! Big reveal. I'm a pickle. What do you think about that? I turned myself into a pickle! I'm Pickle Rick!
It's a ridiculous show, but it's also a genius show. It's very funny. It's very smart. And while some of the ideas might be kind of weird and hard to understand, basically the dialogue and the things people say to each other, that stuff is pretty easy to understand. So I recommend those three: Avatar: The Last Airbender, Futurama, and Rick and Morty. Those three great cartoons if you like cartoons. Number 1, Seinfeld.
Hey there. Oh. One mulligatawny and, what is that right there? Is that lima bean?
Yes.
Never been a big fan.
The interesting thing is that Friends and Seinfeld were on at the same time. They come from the same era of TV, and in fact, they were back to back, I think on Thursday nights throughout the 90s. But somehow Friends became this internationally famous show, and a lot of people use it to improve their English, and that's great, that's fine. But somehow Seinfeld didn't. And I've always felt that that's not fair to Seinfeld. And people are missing out on this great show, which is, in my opinion, better than Friends. It's funnier than Friends. I think the writing is better than Friends. And just like Friends, I think it's a great way to learn English because it's at the same level, but funnier. So, I really recommend Seinfeld, especially if you like Friends. If you already like Friends, I think you'll definitely like Seinfeld. Absolutely. Alright guys, well that's my list of shows that I think you should watch to improve your English. I know it's more than 5. I know I cheated and I'm sorry. But hopefully you've found a few that you really enjoy, that you can get a lot of really useful words and phrases from, and hopefully if you watch some of these shows you can really improve your listening as well. Now I would really like to hear from you guys on this. Post your top 5 shows for learning English in the comments and let me know what you think about my list. I'm going to be making more videos like this, recommendation videos, in the future, so if you have suggestions or you have requests, let me know again in the comments, and I will see you next time.